Hello, everybody. This is Twisted D40 here, aka Brandon, aka I'm just gonna say Brandon. Not sharing my last name very much anymore. I feel like I probably shouldn't do that anyway. Anyway, I want to welcome you all to something I have done before. However many, believe a year or so ago, I'm pretty sure I did this, where I read these three. I have one of them on the screen right here. One of these three, all three of these Infinite Stratos fan fiction stories, where it mainly featured Ling Huang or Reen. I know people say it's Ren, but I kind of read it as Reen, how I believe it's supposed to be, like the other way I guess of saying her name. Lara Bodwig, and then Charlotte Dunois. And I'm gonna do what I did before, where I read these out, except this time, if you've noticed a lot of most recent videos I've been doing, where I did this with wrestling fan fiction stuff as well. I've been implementing my characters, like my either wrestling OCs or RP OCs, in place of the reader. So in this case, with this, the Laura one and the Charlotte one, it's male reader. In this case, I have Aaron. I believe it's Aaron Winter, who I have a different name for here. I don't know how often I'm gonna do this, to be honest, because I have a few other different stories I'm gonna implement my characters into. But I kind of want different ideas for names for my OCs, because after a while, saying Aaron Winter and Jaden Cook gets very annoying after a while. So, for example, for one of the later ones, or actually the one with Laura, Jaden Cook, I'm having him as Caleb Burns for that one, and then for this next one, Aaron Winters is going to be Scott King, and then for the Charlotte one, he's going to be Aiden Gray. So, just giving an idea of that, if it seems like can't make up my mind on the name, partly yes, but also I'm trying to see which one I would rather stick with long term, I guess. I've had the Aaron Winter name and Jane Cook name for a while, I'm pretty sure, and obviously, part of me kind of wants to keep it, but like also part of me wants to change it a little bit. But anyway, so here we're gonna start off with Scott King and Reen. Um, so yeah, let's do this. I sit here, so this is the prologue, the beginning. I sit here thinking about my past, starting from where I came from and how I became who I am. Now, mind you, I am just starting in the academy. To fill you in, I should start from the beginning. My name is Scott. I used to just be a regular guy and was bullied a lot by my peers. I was never the strong type. I was more a loner than anything else. I felt it was better to be alone because there was no feeling of guilt if you did something wrong. You couldn't hurt anyone if you didn't have one to hurt. I spent most of the time studying and sleeping. I got average marks on my homework. In simple terms, I was pretty much a nobody. One day that all changed though. I was at school just like any other normal day. I went to my classes and was good like usual. It was at lunch when a group of boys approached me and demanded that I give them all the money I had on me. I told them no and to go bother someone else. I know that I wasn't strong, but the money I had was from working odd jobs. I had saved up a lot of money over the summer and I wasn't just going to give it away. I wanted to save up as much as I could so that I could get a car when I turned 16. I wanted to achieve that on my own at least. The boys left eventually. I continued throughout my day like usual. After school, though, I was confronted by the boys again. Apparently, they had been looking for someone to step on and exert their power over. They knew that I walked home every day, so I decided to run instead of fight. They gave chase instantly. I ran back into school looking for a place to hide. I saw a door. I had "Keep Out" written on it by on the sign or whatever by the staff. I decided it would be a good place to hide since I didn't think they would follow me into an area that was off limits. I quickly entered the room and tried to find a place to hide. I saw a pile of stuff stacked up and some machinery around it. I quickly slid behind the stuff. Just as I had crouched behind the pile of junk, the door opened and the boys came into the room. "I think he went in here," one of them said. I was scared. I adjusted myself and I felt my hand touch metal. All of a sudden, there came a glowing light from the machine. I stood up and looked at the machine just as teachers came in to see what the commotion was all about. It can't be. A guy shouldn't be able to control an SIS unit, infant status unit, except that for that one case, one of the teachers said. The boys took off running with scared looks on their faces. The next thing I knew, the teachers took me to the principal's office and my parents showed up. In the meantime of waiting for my parents, the staff contacted someone about me. Once my parents showed up, they talked about the school that trained people on how to use an IS unit. The next thing I knew, my parents had put me on a plane to Japan to attend the academy. I was greeted by a woman that told me her name was Miss Orimura. She drove me to the academy from the airport and showed me a room. She explained that since girls were only able to use an ICE unit, except me and one other boy, I would be sharing a room with a girl. It didn't take too long to reach the academy. Miss Orimura showed me to my room. She handed me a map and told me that my roommate would have the day off of classes tomorrow. I was instructed to show me around the academy. She apologized for having to leave on such short notice, but said she had important things to attend to and said that she was the head mistress of the school. After she left, I took the bed that was free and started putting my stuff down. All I could do was wait for my roommate to get back, so I pulled my laptop out that my parents had bought for me and watched anime that I had downloaded. After watching a few episodes, I turned the laptop off and decided to think of how I was going to start in a new type of environment. So here I am, wondering what my life will be like and what happens next. You were so deep in thought that you didn't hear your roommate come in. You didn't seem to be aware of anything of what you were looking at, which happened to be the wall. "Hey, you!" came a girl's voice, snapping you back to the present. You look up to see a short-statured girl with long brown hair flowing behind her. You stand up and brush yourself off. You are kind of nervous because girls don't usually talk to you. "Lock the door next time," the girl yells at you. You flinch a little from being yelled at, and the girl notices. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have yelled at you. I'm sorry for being mean," the girl says apologetically. "It's not your fault for being upset. I should have been more careful," you respond while sounding nervous. "My name is Reen. You don't have to be nervous around me. I won't bite. I'm just loud normally," Reen says, introducing herself. I'm Scott King. I'm just not used to a girl talking to me, is all you say while blushing a little. "Do you want to talk about it? It's fine if you don't. I just want to get to know you, is all." "I want to help if possible," Reen says and asks. "I'm not sure you'd like listening to my past. It's kind of sad, really," you say. "I will listen to whatever you want to tell me. Miss Orimura already told me you are a little antisocial and to try to be friends with you. I would actually like to be your friend. I don't like to see people hurt or sad," Reen says. "Well, since I have nothing to do, I guess I can tell you about what happened to me," you say. Reen sits down next to you on your bed and you begin to tell her everything about your past. It took roughly about an hour to explain everything to her, but she honestly listened to everything you said without interrupting you. Afterwards, she sat there for a moment thinking, and she suddenly looked up at you and smiled. "Well, around here, we don't treat people like that. The academy may not look like it, but us students look out for one another. Some of us treat each other like family. Everyone has their own reason for being here, and we understand that. If you ever need anything, just let me know," Reen says. It was unusual for you to talk to anyone, let alone a girl, but Reen made you feel welcome, and you noticed the entire time you were talking about your past, you weren't nervous. "Reen, you say? What is it?" Reen asked. "Thank you. You made me feel like I can finally talk to people. I guess I am really nervous because I'm adjusting to a new type of lifestyle," you say. Reen smiles at you. "No problem. I'll introduce you to my friends tomorrow, and we can go from there. For now, let's get some sleep," Reen says. Reen gets up and pulls out a sleeping outfit out of her dresser and starts to get undressed. I don't think we should change in front of each other," you say. "You aren't a pervert, are you?" Reen asks. "Well, no, I'm not," you say. "Well, just relax then. It's not like I'm going to attack you or anything. I figure if you aren't perverted, then there's no reason to be nervous about cheating in front of each other then," Reen says. "True," you say. You turn away from her, though, as you get dressed. but are still a little nervous about doing it in front of a girl. You change quickly and climb into bed. Good night, Scott, Reen says. Good night, Reen, you say. At the very least, you thought this was going to be weird to get adjusted to this lifestyle, but you decided to roll with it for a while before making a decision on anything. You roll away, you roll over, facing away from her, and fall asleep quickly, feeling the jet lag. You wake up, chapter 2. You wake up and realize that you roll over to where you're facing towards Reen's side. You see something blurry in your vision. When your eyes adjusted, you saw Reen's backside and she was getting dressed. You instantly rolled back over and apologized. What are you apologizing for? Reen asks. I just saw you in your underwear. You say sound nervous. So, I know you won't do anything to me. Just forget about it, Reen says. You get up and get dressed while Reen starts to cook something to eat. After you were dressed, you sat at the table with the big book that they had given you to read and continued to read it. You were so engrossed in the book that it startled you when Reen slid a plate of food in front of you. Easy there, no need to be so nervous. My friends will like you and we'll help you out. Just relax, Reen says. Sorry, just no one has looked out for me besides my parents, you say. I told you last night that I'd be your friend. Besides, you seem like a nice guy. Friendship starts with trust, doesn't it? Just trust me and relax around me, Reen says. All right, I will try, you say, seeing Reen smile. And like I said, I believe it's Relentless's story about Reen, where I think. Let me. Sorry, I'm pulling up a whole other thing. I just double checking. Um. Linging or Reen, at the visual of okay, yeah. So for dubs, it's seen as Ren, but it's Reen. That's how I'm gonna kind of keep reading it. I might interchangeably use Ren or Reen, but I guess the actual way you're supposed to say it is Reen, but for dubbed, it's Ren for whatever reason. But yeah, if I'll either interchange it or I'll just say how I think it's supposed to be said. But anyway. You follow Ren for the morning. She shows you where the classroom is that you'll be in for your classes. Unfortunately, you couldn't go in because class was in session. She showed you the pool for swim practice. When you entered the pool area, all the girls in there went crazy seeing you. You became nervous and hid a little behind Ren. Don't worry, I won't let them try anything, Ren said. Ren led the way out of the pool area and took you to the main gymnasium. Some of the girls were practicing kendo. You got a little excited seeing the kendo stuff. Ren walked over to a girl that had long brown flowing hair tied up with a sash around it. Hold it up some. Hey, Hoki, Ren said to the girl. The girl lowered her kendo stick. Is that the new transfer student? The girl named Hoki asked. Yeah, he is also my roommate. Try not to intimidate him. He is nervous enough already, Ren says. The girl walks over to you and bows a little. My name is Hoki. Pleasure to meet you. I am one of Ren's friends. I hope we can be friends once you get accustomed to everything around here. Just relax around me. If you are with Ren, you are more than welcome to see me if you need anything, the girl said. My name is Scott King. Thank you for greeting me. So far, the girls around here are friendly. Just not used to girls being friendly towards me, you say. Some just see you as a potential mate. Just be careful and stick with us. You know we'll be fine. We will keep the vultures away from you. Love that. Out of reading it. I love that, Hoagie says. Well, it's about lunchtime. Shall we get going and beat the rest of the group of my friends there? Reen says and asks you. Right. I am kind of hungry now, you say. You follow Reen to the cafeteria. You watch as she orders a bowl of ramen. It smells so good that you order the same thing, but requests a little bit of chili peppers in it. Ren raises her eyebrows, but doesn't pry. You follow her over to a large table. All of a sudden, the girl with blonde hair sits down at the table. Ugh. Ichika is such an idiot, the girl with golden hair says. Before Reen could say anything, a girl with blue hair sat down, along with a girl with long blonde golden hair and another with a platinum hair wearing an eye patch over one of her eyes. Then Hoki and a guy sat down. You were all squished in the booth when with Reen pressed up next to you. You got a little embarrassed that a girl was touching you. You decided not to complain, though. Ahem. Everyone, this is Scott King. He is the new transfer student and my roommate, Reen announced to everyone. Oh my, another boy? My name is Charlotte Dunois, said the girl with short golden hair. I'm Lara Boldewig, said the girl with platinum hair, proudly. I'm Cecilia Alcott, said the girl with long golden hair. I'm Kinsashi, said the girl with blue hair shyly. I'm Ichiko. Welcome to the meat grinder, friend, the guy said. It's a pleasure to meet everyone here, you say. Charlotte is French, Lara is German, Cecilia is British, Ichika, Hoki, and Kinsashi are Japanese, and I am Chinese, Reen says, telling you where everyone came from. So what are you, Lara asks. I'm Australian, you say. Just let any of us know if anyone messes with you. We also won't let any of the girls in this academy try anything on you either. Relax and just be yourself with us, Hoki says. Thank you, everyone. I'm not used to having friends, you say. Well, we have us now, Ichika says. You nod your head and everyone starts eating and chatting about IS units they have. You join in the fun and even laugh a couple of times when the others mention each just failing at things. You felt that for once in your life you had a group of peers that you fit in with and could have fun with. Chapter 3, Reen's Problem. After lunch, everyone went back to their classes. Reen continued to show you around the school. She showed you the docking bay where the IS units were kept at. You saw there was a hangar for those that had personal IS units. You saw you're sitting in there shining like crazy because of those golden color. It outshone everyone else's. It even caught Reen's attention. She went to examine it. I take it this is your IS unit, Reen asked. Yes, you replied, trying to tell what she thought of it. What's the name of it? Reen asked you. Raikiri. It has the ability to control electricity. Since it uses a massive amount of energy to use, the core produces energy that's 3 times the normal IS unit. Tabane Shinono created this IS unit herself. I'm also able to collect data on it and turn in reports every time I use it, you say. Who do you hand in those reports to, Reen asks. To Miss Orimori, you say. I would like to see in action sometime, Reen says. You will, soon. Trust me, I fear the power of this unit myself, you say. Sounds like a nightmare to use. Well, let's continue the tour, Reen says with a look on her face as if she was thinking of something. You continue the tour with Reen leading the way. For the rest of the day, you visited the medical bay, mechanics where they worked on the IS units, and the training grounds for the IS units. Everywhere Reen took you, the staff and girls that worked there were friendly and tried to make you feel welcomed. You were actually starting to gain more confidence and weren't nervous as much. After the tour, you went back to your room. You lay down in your bed and fell asleep. After a few hours, you end up waking up to the sound of Reen crying. Look over and see that she's on her bed, curled up in a ball, crying and shaking. You instantly get up and try to hug her. She pushes you away. Get away from me, she yells. What's wrong, you ask. Nothing, just leave me alone. She yells back at you. You keep calm and confront her. Look, I can tell there's something wrong, so tell me, you say. I can't, she says, this time in a more calm voice. Why not? We are friends, aren't we? Are we not? You helped me today, so let me help you now, you say. She looks up at you and you pull out a handkerchief, holding it out to her. She grabs it and wipes the tears away. All right, it's not something good to hear, though, Reen says. I can handle it, just don't let me know what is going on, you say. You sit down on her bed, keeping a little space between the two of you to try and make her comfortable. Well, it's my mother. She has a cancer causing a tumor near her heart. They can't do anything to remove it because it would kill her instantly. She doesn't have much longer to live either. She has had it for a while now. They say she only has a week to live at most, Reen says before she bursts into tears again. You grab her this time and hold her even though she tries to shove you away. I'm not letting you go. Go ahead and cry on me. That is what friends are for, are they not? You say. She stops struggling and eventually cries herself out until she falls asleep leaning against you. You didn't want to wake her up, so you just sat. Eventually you fell asleep again while still holding her. Chapter 4, Suspicion and Reen's Problem Exposed. You ended up falling asleep while holding Reen. You didn't realize that you had fell back onto her bed while holding her until you were woken up by Hoki. Apparently, Reen and you were extremely tired last night because neither of you had heard Hoki walk in. Just what the hell are you doing to her? Hoki shouted. Reen woke up from Hoki yelling and looked around, noticing that she was snuggled up against you. You tried to move away, but Reen decided to stay right by you. You are a pervert taking advantage of a girl, Hoki yelled at you. She raised a candlestick up in her hands and was going to hit you until Reen deployed the arm of her IS unit and blocked the blow. You didn't do anything to me, Hoki. I had a nightmare and you tried to comfort me is all, Reen said. That better be all, Hoki said while glaring at you. Hoki laughed after making sure you both were awake. I'm sorry for causing such a commotion, you say. Don't worry about it. I told you to relax. Thank you, by the way, Reen said. For what, you say? For helping me. No one has ever really done that for me, Reen says. Anytime. I'm your friend, and that is something friends are supposed to do, you say. You both get dressed quickly and head to the cafeteria to get something to eat. When you both get there, the group looks at both of you. Cecilia and Laura just stare at you both. Tatanashi smiles, and Ichika asks if nothing is out of the ordinary. Kansashi remains quiet like usual. Charlotte smiles as if acting like nothing is wrong. All right, you guys, spill it. What are you talking about? You are acting different, Reen says. We heard from Hoki as to how she had found you both in the same bed, Cecilia says. He was just trying to comfort me because I had a nightmare, Reen said with a blush on her face. You sure he isn't your bride? Laura asked. It wasn't anything like that, Reen shouts. Just then, Miss Orimura comes up to everyone. Why are you all being so loud and causing a commotion, Miss Orimura asked. Hoki found Scott holding me and trying to comfort me from a nightmare I had, and the girls are trying to say it was something else, Reen says. I suppose you would have a nightmare with what is going on for your family. Why don't you tell the rest? I think they should know since you are friends, Miss Orimura says. Know what? Cecilia asks. You grim Reen's hand to show support. Well, my mom has cancer and doesn't have long to live, Reen says before bursting into tears. You grab her and hold her against your chest as shock registers on everyone's faces. You rub Reen's back, trying to comfort her. Reen, we had no idea. Why didn't you come to us sooner? We are all here for you, Charlotte says and asks. I didn't want you guys to see me being weak from my emotions, Reen says. We would never think you are weak, Laura says. We will always support you, Hoki says. Thank you, everyone, Reen says while still gripping onto your shirt. Well, everyone take the day off. Your assignment is to be there for her and help her. Miss Orimura walks away, leaving you all standing there as a group. It seems that to you, that everyone is more like a family than friends. Everyone decides to go and hang out outside and hang for the day on the school grounds. Chapter 5. Reen losing interest in Ichika. The day was starting to wind down. Everyone had gone together to spend the day and have fun. Everyone except you participated in some sparring matches with each other. You just sat back and watched, taking notes on the different combat styles that everyone used. When you had looked over your notes after writing so much, you noticed that most of them was on Reen. You had no clue why she was the main one you focused on. Everyone eventually finished up their sparring matches and put their IS units away. After a decent length conversation, everyone saying goodbye to each other for the day. Reen and you headed back to your guys' room. You sat down on your desk and opened your notes to continue studying as Reen got her clothes and hopped into the shower. You were so engrossed in your notes and studying them while taking more of your notes on how to implement some of the combat styles into yours. They didn't know Reen had finished with her bath and that an hour had gone by. Reen had come up behind you and had apparently been watching you for a while before she spoke, causing you to startle. What you doing? Reen said. Just studying everyone's combat styles and seeing if there's anything I can use in a fight with. What's my unit? You say. You sure study a lot, Reen says. I have to. I have something in my life that's worth defending for once. I've never had anything going for me until now, you said, while still looking at your notes. What do you mean? Reen asks. I have friends now, and that means a lot to me. I want to become strong enough to defend them. That is somewhat a dream to me. I was an outcast growing up and never had friends or family that cared much about me. Not now that I do, I don't want to lose any of them, you say. I understand how you feel. I'm I'm glad that everyone likes you, Reen says. You turn around and smile at Reen. You're the first friend I ever had. I promise that as a man I'll do my best to protect you. I never want to lose our friendship, you say. Reen blushes from your statement. In a way, you and Ichika are kind of the same, Reen says. How so, you ask? Ichika says the same thing. He feels his job to protect the ones that can't protect themselves. I believe most people call it chivalry. Clever, Reen says. That word is probably the best word used for it. Chivalry was a code of honor among knights back in medieval times. It was what made them into people that were respected, you say. Can you hold me again like you did last night? I'm scared for my mother and don't know how to cope with it, Reen says and asks. If you're okay with it, I don't see anything wrong with doing that. I've never been in the situation myself, but I can imagine how terrifying it is knowing that someone you love and care for only has so long to live, you say. You grab her hand and lead her to her bed. Come on, let's get some sleep. You have to go back to classes tomorrow, you say. You lay down and Reen snuggles her back against you. You put your arm around her and didn't take long before she fell asleep. When she was asleep, you close your eyes and drift off to sleep. Chapter 6. Defying a parent and Reen's decision. You wake up in the morning and see that Reen was up already and in the shower. You get out of bed and slowly walk over to your dresser and grab some clothes to change into after you take a shower. You sit on the edge of your bed worried about Reen when there came a knock on the door. You tell Reen that someone is there through the bathroom door and answer the door to the room. You see an older man there standing there with Tatanashi. Hi, Scott. This is Reen's father, and he's here to see her, Tatanashi says. Come on in, both of you, and welcome, sir, you say. The man just nods his head and walks in, with Tatanashi behind him. He sits down at the table when Reen comes out in just her underwear and bra. She sees her father and just stares. What do you think you are doing, young lady, walking around here in just your underclothes with a guy here, her father says. Why are you here? Reen shot back. I'm here to bring you home. I need your help with the business, he says. I'm not going back home. I finally found somewhere that I fit in and refuse to leave, Reen says. I am your father and you will obey my orders, her father says. You decide to step in and confront him. You didn't like the way he was treating her. You can't force her to leave. If you keep going, I will ask you to leave, you say. I will make my daughter come with me by force if I have to. She is my daughter and she will obey me. Besides, who do you think you are getting involved in the situation? Reen's father says and asks you. I'm her roommate and friend. And as for you thinking you can come in and just order her around, well, that just isn't going to happen. Under the regulations of the academy, all students are here by protected and shall not be released from the academy's responsibility without approval from the said person. You say, quoting the rights of the academy regulations. He gets up and grabs Reen by the arm and attempts to drag her out, but you stand in front of the door with the partial deployment of your IRS unit just for your arm. Step aside, young man. You have no right to interfere here, Reen's father says. I have every right when it comes to protecting any of the students here, you say. Scott, that is enough, Miss Orimura says right behind you. I am taking my daughter with me, and that is final. Now everyone get out of my way, Reen's father says. I'm sorry, but that is not happening. As Scott said, you have no right to take her. Either you cease, or I have academy guards take you into custody, Miss Orimura says. Reen's father lets go of her. I will be back with a lawyer. You haven't heard the last of me, Reen's father says as he leaves. Are you all right? You ask Reen. I'm fine, thank you. Reen says as she hugs you. You hug her back and look at Miss Orimura. I want it to where that man is not allowed on the grounds of the academy, you say. I'll get right on that. You just take care of her, Miss Orimura says before leaving. I'll leave you two alone. Please hurry to class as soon as possible, Tatanashi says before leaving. Let us go to class and we can discuss this after classes, all right, you say? Reen nods and grabs her stuff while you grab yours and you both head to class. You hope today doesn't get any worse. Chapter 7, Reen devastated. You both make it to class. Reen and you sit down and both of you pull your books out, but Reen seems a little off by her movements. You decide to keep a close eye on her. Apparently Ichika noticed because he gave you a look as if asking what's wrong. You pull out your tablet and send him a message that you could talk to him after class. It was more than like 2 seconds, and he sent you a message back saying okay. Classes seemed to drag on forever to get over with. You just realized, though, that it was because you were focused on Reen. She just seemed to be there in person, but not in mind. You were extremely worried about her. After classes were over, everyone headed to the courtyards to hang out. You pull each off to the side away from all the girls. Her father tried to make her go home with him today. She refused to go home. I think she's worried about her father, but also doesn't want to leave. Last thing I know, she also has on her mind is the time her mother has left, you say. She is in a tough spot. She usually isn't good at handling bad things like this. Just stay by her side, and if anything happens, contact us. We will be there in an instant. We need to keep an eye on her, Ichika says. I agree. I'll let you talk to the girls about this tonight. For now, let's just keep this quiet until tonight, you say. Agreed, Ichika says. You both head back to the girls and act like nothing was going on. Everyone tries to have a good time. Reen was the only one that wasn't involve much of the conversations. She seemed lost in her mind. You knew this was the battle that only she could fight. You would stay by her side and support by her side for support with everything, but hope she found out how to deal with everything. After the afternoon had gone by and everyone was done hanging out, everyone went off with Ichika while Reen went with you back to the room. You decided to take a shower while Reen slept a little. After 15 minutes, you came out of the shower dressed in your night clothes when Reen's phone rings. You watch as she answers the phone. You hear you hear her say this, and then all of a sudden the phone drops from Reen's hand, hitting the floor and shattering into pieces. You immediately rush to her. What's wrong? You ask. My mom died, Reen says before passing out. You immediately get on your phone and call Ichika. What's up, man? Ichika asks. You and the girls get here right now. Reen just got the news that her mom passed away in the hospital. You say, trying to keep your voice as calm as possible. We're all on our way. I'm calling my sister and getting a medical team to meet us there. Be there shortly, Ichika says before hanging up. You close your phone and hope everyone gets there quickly. You are still holding on to Chapter 8, Lost in Thought and Feelings. You are still holding on to Reen when everyone gets there. Since Ichika and the girls were next door, they arrived about 4 minutes before Miss Umar and the medical team got there. You had tears running down your face while looking at Reen. It didn't take long before the medical team had Reen on a stretcher and taking her to the infirmary. Everyone looked at you as you got up and walked down to the balcony from the sliding door of the room. Charlotte and Tatanashi made a move towards you, but Ichika held his arm up, stopping them. You heard them talking, but couldn't make out what they were saying. Everyone sat down in either chairs or the bed and watched you. It didn't even cross your mind how you had been standing out there looking at the night sky until someone put their hand on your shoulder. You slowly turned to see who it was and saw that was Ichika. Hey man, how are you holding up? Ichika asked you. Not gonna lie, it hurts seeing her in this condition, you say. We need to get some sleep, especially you, Ichika says. You guys go on ahead and head back to your room to sleep. I'm going to be up for a while, you say. If you need any of us, feel free to call one of us, Ichika says, returning to the girls and leaving the room with them. You continue to stay on the balcony for a while before heading to bed. It didn't take long before you pass down your bed. You wake up in the morning and get your books together and head to class. You ignore the looks as everyone stares at you as you pass them in the hall. You make the class and sit down while taking out your supplies. About midway through class, Reen comes in and takes her seat. You can see the pain reflecting on her face and don't realize that your face masks her pain also. The girls in each watch you both, but don't say anything to either of you. But after class, both you and Reen head back to your room. You sit down at your desk and end up staring into space until Reen sits down in the bed next to you and cuddles up on your lap. You wrap your arms around her and just hold her as she starts to cry. Eventually, Reen cries herself to sleep. You just continue to hold her as she sleeps. You just wish there's something you could do for her. It was a long time until you slowly drift off to sleep, holding on to Reen without realizing it. Chapter 9, Bonds Growing Stronger. You and Reen are both woken up in the morning by Charlotte. Apparently, both of you have been so out of it and were so tired that neither of you woke up when Charlotte came in. Charlotte pulls out the divider between yours and Reen's bed and helps Reen get dressed while you get dressed in the bathroom. Once you and Reen were both dressed, Charlotte informed you that that Miss Umara wanted to see both of you. Once both of you had your stuff ready, you both head to Miss Orima's office to see her. It took about 15 minutes to get there because Reen walked slowly due to her emotional state. Once you both reached the office, you opened and held the door for Reen to go in. You go to the staff member at the main desk, and she escorts both of you to Miss Orimore's office. Miss Orimore looks up as both of you enter the room. Please sit, you two. Miss Orimore asks. Both of you and Reen sit down. You knew something was up because of the look on Miss Orimore's face. I'm giving you both, along with all the other girls, and Ichika off school for a week. You have the week for Reen's mother's funeral. I also have two things. One for each of you to hear and follow. Reen, you are to keep your emotional in check when you get back. I know losing a parent must be hard, but remember, safety is a big thing too when it comes to being an IS pilot. As for you, Scott King, you are to remain by Reen's side and are instructed to help her if she needs help. I know a little bit about you both, and as far as I'm concerned, if she needs any kind of comforting, you may do as you please to comfort her. I'll also be giving each of you 100,000 yen to spend during the time off. You are to use it as you see fit. I'll also be attending the funeral myself on the day of. I liked your mother, Reen, and want to pay respects to the woman that helped me become who I am today. You both are both dismissed. I'll inform the others. Miss Ormore says while having tears in her eyes. It was the first time you saw Miss Ormore cry. You were glad to see that even though she was strict, she still cared about others. Both you and Reen got up and headed back to your room to decide what to take with you for the funeral and plan out where to stay at for the week. You're glad that Miss Ormore was giving Reen a break to pull herself together, but you still couldn't help but worry about Reen because she was still messed up emotionally and wasn't talking much. You knew some signs to tell when something was wrong with someone, but this time around you couldn't do anything to help Reen except to stay by her side. You both eventually make it back to the room. We asked Reen if she wanted to help plan everything out for the stay outside the academy, but she told you to go ahead and plan everything out with combining both of your money together. Reen leaned down on your bed instead of hers and curled up in a ball. When you saw this, you went over and laid down next to her and put your arm around her. When you put your arm around her, she immediately switched to curl up into your chest. She stayed there and cried for a while. When she had cried herself out, she got up and got an outfit out along with a towel. I'm sorry for being such a mess, Reen said. She got her stuff for the shower. It's all right. I can imagine it's hard to lose someone close to you. Just try and cheer up. Just think. At least she's in a better place and doesn't feel pain anymore, you say. Reen smiles and kisses you all of a sudden. After she kisses you, she runs into the bathroom quickly from embarrassment. Or kisses your cheek, excuse me. You touch her cheek where she kissed you, and you smile as you hear the shower turn on. You couldn't help but think that you were starting to fall in love with her. 10. The beginning of a relationship. And this is like an author's note. I'm not going to read it. Big credit, obviously, to Anime Freak 1988 for the 3 stories. I'm pretty sure I gave him credit before. Him, her, or they credit before for when I read them initially with just using, I think, myself as the, putting myself in as a reader, but they're really good storytellers, and I really appreciate the fact that he did all this writing these stories. So thank you for writing all these. Anyway, you were packing your stuff and made sure to have an outfit left out to change into after taking a shower. You packed enough clothes for the whole week, ending up with 2 suitcases after the clothes and supplies for hygiene purposes. As soon as you were done getting the suitcases situated, Reen came out of the shower. You picked your clothes up and head into the bathroom to shower while Reen decided to get dressed. You knew she probably didn't put anything on her towel wrapped around her and would have been embarrassed if she had gotten dressed in front of you. So you made sure to hurry and get into the shower. While in the shower, you couldn't help but think about Reen and her actions. You noticed when she was in a bad mood, she had the tendency to ignore what was normal for doing things. You worried with everything that was going on that it might be too much for her. You did have one question for her, though. You just hoped she would be truthful, even if the answer was no to it. Turn the water off and get dressed. Before you leave the bathroom, you take a deep breath and slowly let it out. Each and the other girls saw right through your feelings for Reen. It was time for you to face your feelings and Reen. You walk out of the bathroom and seeing Reen has packed her stuff for the week away for the funeral. You slowly approach her and she turns and looks towards you, noticing the serious look on your face. What's wrong? Reen asks. You brace yourself for her answer before speaking. Reen, I have something to say and ask you, you say, gauging the reaction on her face. She stands there waiting for you to speak and notices that you are nervous. I love you, Reen. Will you go out with me? You say and ask. You close your eyes, waiting for her to say no. Yes, she says happily. You open your eyes just in time to see her jump at you. You catch her in your arms and hug her tightly. You couldn't believe that she said yes. You look down and notice tears of joy on her face. You raise up and kiss her deeply, feeling her mouth open slightly, allowing you to deepen the kiss even more. She slowly reaches her arms up and wraps them around your neck. You're both standing there kissing like that when the door to the room opens up with each of the girls standing there. It's so good. It's so good. Love that for some reason. I don't know why I love that so much. Just the awkward timing of it. Both you and Reen freeze when everyone came into the room. You became nervous because the other girls started looking at you closely. Reen moved her arms around your neck and strained her outfit out to where it wasn't wrinkly. What the hell is going on here? Hoki shouted. Well, we were just... He started to say before Hoki cut in again. You better have not done anything to her, yelled Hoki. Easy, Hoki. Let them explain, Charlotte said while watching both you and Reen. Well, he confessed his love to me and I accepted, Reen said, saving you from having to speak. About time, man. I thought you were going to lose it having to keep sharing the same room with Reen, not telling her how you felt. Ichika said. What do you mean? The girls asking Ichika in unison. Well, it was obvious that he liked Reen. Ichika said. All of a sudden, the girl smacked Ichika in the back of the head. Ow! What the hell was that for? Ichika said. If you can't tell, you're dense, man. It's obvious they all like you, man, you say. Wait, what? Ichika says. It's obvious the 6 girls like you and want to be with you. You say that Ichika. Ichika stammers while looking at the girls with a nervous look on his face. Fakes the facts, man. They all care for you, you say. All the girls are in shock because you set them out how they feel towards Ichika. Eventually, Ichika composes himself. I'm sorry for not paying that close attention to you girls to realize on how you felt, Ichika says while looking down and sad at the same time. The girls get over their shock and start to feel nervous because now Ichika knew how they felt towards him. Sorry for saying you girls out, but Ichika needed to know the truth. He has been hearing you girls and didn't realize it. Now that everything's out in the open, everyone can stop hurting each other unintentionally, you say, well, feeling sympathetic for them all. I never meant to hurt any of you girls. I'll pay more attention to you girls from now on, Ichika says. The girls all bow their heads and apologize to Ichika. Ichika just waves it off like it isn't a big deal, and he hugs each one of the girls, trying to cheer them up and show them that he cares about them all. How about you date them all and decide who you like best once you have a chance to know them each on a very personal level, you suggest. I like them all. I have some thinking to do, Ichika says before walking out the door, holding his head in shame for not seeing the fact they all liked him. Once Ichika left, he decided to speak to the girls. I know it might seem messed up, but how about you all be with him? I know enough to know that besides Miss Orimore, he never had anyone to rely on, you say. All the girls nod. Good. Now y'all need to go comfort him. I'm sure he's feeling down on himself. Please take care of him and be kind. He has a rough life and right now he needs all of you, you say. The girls nod and leave to try and be there for Ichika. You smile as you see them leaving, knowing that it will work out in the end, but it will take time. Once everyone leaves, Reen speaks. That was a weird thing to do, but thanks for trying to help them all, Reen says. Just trying to help them out. How will we get back to us now, you say and ask. That sounds like a wonderful idea, Reen says. You grab Reen's face and start to kiss her deeply again, enjoying your time with her now that she's by your side. Chapter 12. Starting of the trip. It wasn't very long before Miss Umar called everyone to her office to make sure everyone was ready to leave for the funeral. While everyone was in the office, Miss Umar kept watching her younger brother because even though he was paying attention to what she was saying, he kept hanging his head, still showing the signs of being depressed from hearing the girls. Eventually everyone cleared out, but Miss Umar told her brother to stay for a minute. You walked out with the rest of the girls and told them to go on ahead while you stayed back and listened inside the door. You heard the entire conversation of Ichika telling her what you said about the girls and how they felt about him, and her knowing for a while that they liked him. Mr. Ormar said it was up to him what he decided to do about it, and didn't care if he even decided to be with all of them, as long as he was happy. Once you had heard enough, you left and went back to your room to grab your bags and meet everyone out in front. Apparently, Breen had left the note since she had grabbed her stuff and went on ahead to wait on everyone. You picked up the note and read it. I know why you stayed back. I hope everything went all right. Fill me in on what was said. I love you, and we'll see you when you get to the front gate, Reen. You grabbed your stuff that you had already packed and double-checked to make sure you have everything. Once you made sure everything was there, you left the room making sure to lock it and headed out to the gate. Everyone was there except Miss Orimura, and you all decided to wait before getting on the bus. Eventually, Miss Orimura shows up with Miss Yamada following behind her. Listen up, everyone. I know this is a trip, but keep in mind what it is for. Miss Yamada will be accompanying you guys on the trip while I stay back and attend the classroom for her. She has ultimate say. If something goes wrong in the trip and you are attacked, Ichika and Scott are in charge for it. Listen to their orders. I'll see you all back in here in 1 week. Have a safe trip. Dismissed. Miss Orimore says before heading back to the academy. Slowly, everyone files onto the bus. You sit next to Reen while everyone takes a seat. Once everyone is on and their stuff is put away, the bus takes off to the airport. Reen rests her head against your shoulder and ends up falling asleep, while Tatanashi lets Ichika sleep on her shoulder. You only think that this is going to be a long trip and hope that things got better for everyone by the end of it. Chapter 13, The Plane Trip and Hotel. Eventually, the bus makes it to the airport. Everyone grabs their stuff and heads into the airport, carrying their stuff. Cecilia had the most, making it seem like she had packed every dress she had. Everyone headed to the gate with Tatsunashi giving instructions and leading the way. Once everyone passed the security check and got on the plane, they sat down and waited for takeoff. It was going to be about a 2-hour flight. Tatsunashi took a seat up front by the cockpit area so she could keep status updates on things that were going on. The rest of the girls took seats in the middle area surrounding Ichika while you and Reen sat in the back. Reen had a sad look on her face again as she thought about her mother. You wrapped your arm around her to comfort her and she braced herself up against you. It wasn't like her to remain sad for a long time, but you knew that losing a parent had to be hard to deal with. The others eventually looked back and saw the sadness on Reen's face and calmed down enough to stop trying to get Ichika's attention. After everyone was safely strapped in, the plane started taxiing down the runway. Once up in the sky and the safety belt light went off, everyone took their straps off and started on trying to cheer Reen up. Eventually, they got her to start laughing and everyone settled in on having a fun time on the plane. After 2 hours went by, the pilot announced that everyone needed to get to their seats because the plane was ready to land. Once everyone was seated and strapped in, the plane started to descend. Once the plane touched down and taxied in the hangar, everyone got off and passed through security. When they got to the entrance of the airport, there was a guy holding a sign next to the limo with the sign reading IS Academy on it. Everyone approached the limo and got in. Once everyone was in, the limo took off. Eventually, the limo stopped in front of a hotel that looked fancy. Tatsunashi led the way in and went up to the receptionist desk. After a few minutes, she came back holding keys out to everyone. You and Reen were sharing a room, while the girls all shared a room. Each got his own room, and Tatsunashi was sharing a room with her sister, Kansashi. Everyone took their stuff up to the room and put stuff just the way they wanted. You and Reen decided to take a shower together and then lay down to relax. When you had got comfortable on the bed, Reen curled up next to you. You wrapped your arm around her and hold her. It wasn't very long before Reen was passed down, sleeping on your chest. You were glad that you were here for her. You closed your eyes and fell asleep while swallowing the Reen. You dreamt of being happy and always being by Reen's side. Chapter 14, The Funeral. Everyone gets up early and gets their outfits on for the funeral. You look over at Reen while getting dressed and see the tears streaming down her face. You go over and hug her while letting her cry on your shoulder. From what you understand from Ichika, Reen was very close to her mom. You can only imagine how she must be feeling inside while you were holding her. It wasn't very long until you heard a knock on the door to the hotel room. You answered the door and saw Tatsunashi standing there. She looked at you, and all you could do is shake your head. Tatsunashi went straight over to Reen and held her. You can see in Tatsunashi's eyes that she felt sorry for Reen. Slowly, Reen got a hold of herself. She looked at both you and Tatsunashi. Let's go, Reen said. Both you and Tatsunashi shook your heads. You hold her hand and leave to go meet the others in the lobby. Once you got downstairs, you saw everyone waiting in the group. You meet them, and everyone heads outside to the curb where 3 cars are lined up in front in a row with the IS Academy logo on them. Miss Orimura has hired people to drive us for the funeral. Reen and Scott are to be in the first car, while my sister and me are in the second. Everyone else will be in the last car, Tatsunashi announced. Everyone filed into the appropriate vehicles and they got going to the funeral. Took about an hour for the ride to the funeral. Everyone got out of the vehicles and headed up the steps to the funeral home. Once inside, a man between his mid to late 40s approached them. Hello, everyone. I'm glad you all could make it here to support Reen. Let me properly introduce myself. I am Mao Huang. I am Reen's father. It's also good to see you again, Reen. I wish this was a better occasion, Mr. Huang said. It took everyone by surprise, even Mr. Huang himself, when Reen ran to her father and hugged him. He hugged his daughter back tightly. Everyone knew there was a few issues between her and her father. I have a favor to ask of you boys, though, and unfortunately it's not a good task I wish you could help with, Mr. Huang said. May I ask what that is, sir? You asked. Would you boys be willing to help to carry the coffin? Two of the guys didn't show up, Mr. Huang said. We would be honored to help with this sad occasion in any way we could, you say. I thank you both, Mr. Huang says. Mr. Huang leads the way to the room where everyone was at. The reception lasted about an hour before you and Ichika had to help lift the coffin up and take it out to the hearse. You both were nervous, but held your composure and got it up into the vehicle. Once everyone got into their cars, the group started towards the gravesite. Took about half an hour to reach the gravesite. Everyone got out and headed to grave itself. You watched Reen say a few things before it was time to lower the coffin into the grave. Once the coffin was lowered, everyone slowly started to disperse and make their way home or to wherever it was they had to go. Once back at the hotel, everyone gathered into your and Reen's room. You sat down on your bed while Reen laid her head down in your lap and started crying again. Everyone stayed the rest of the day in your room to comfort and support Reen. Eventually, Reen cried herself to sleep with her head resting on your lap. When she was asleep, everyone started talking quietly to each other. Eventually, everyone fell asleep in the room with some of them sleeping on the floor. You slowly drift off to sleep thinking about the day and was glad everyone was here to support her. You grabbed Reen to a hug, and the next thing you knew, that you were out for the count from the stressful day. Chapter 15. Tatsunashi woke up first in the morning. Everyone was getting ready when came a knock on the door to the motel room. You answered the door and saw Reen's father standing there. Good morning, Scott King. I was hoping that you and my daughter could stay for today, and I'll make sure you both are on a plane tomorrow back to the IS Academy. Miss Orimura has given clearance for you both, along with having Kansashi stay too, Mr. Wong said. Just then, Reen and Kansashi came up beside you. Are you sure it's alright that we stay here? Reen asked. Of course. Kansashi is here to stay with you just in case something happens. Mr. Huang says. Are you okay staying here, Kansashi? Mr. Orimura already contacted me personally, and I have agreed to stay if you want to. Tatsunashi can handle things back at the academy, Kansashi said with a smile on her face. Alright, Dad, we'll stay for the day, Reen says, showing a smile on her face. Everyone else finishes packing up and getting in the cars back to the airport. As Tatsunashi walks by, she whispers to you to look after both Reen and Kansashi. You nod your head in acknowledgement and watch them take off as a car pulls up to the curb. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for staying back. First off, Reen, I would like to talk to you over lunch. Of course, the others are welcome too. I have a few things to say, and then after that, I hope we can have some fun, Mr. Huang says. Reen nods and hops in the car with Kansashi and you following. Mr. Huang gets in and it takes off. It wasn't long before he stops in front of a building. The place looked really nice and everyone got out. Mr. Huang led the way into the restaurant. As soon as he approached the cash register, the person looked up and their eyes widened. Mr. Huang, it's a surprise to see you, sir. If it's just the four of you, have a perfect place for sitting, the lady behind the register said. That would be appreciated, Mr. Huang said. The lady led all four of you to a table that was secluded away from the other people. Once everyone was seated, the lady handed out menus. Everyone took turns giving no orders. You go and start to pull out money for your share of the bill, seeing how high the prices were for some of the food. Mr. Huang tells you to put the money away because it won't be necessary. Well, Reen, I'm sorry for neglecting you for the last few years. I thought it was best to let you be and do what you wanted to do. I know you have, but before you say anything, please let me explain. While I was letting you be, I was making business deals and making my way back to the top. In fact, I own a few restaurants now, and this is one of the best. And this is one of the best establishments. That is why I said there's no need to pay for the bill. I hope that one day you can forgive me for what seemed like I was neglecting you, but I wanted you safe and not involved in the politics of business. I see today I have a bunch of friends, and I'm proud to call you my daughter. Now, what you do from here is on you. You are old enough to make your own decisions, but I hope you can rely on me if you need anything, Mr. Huang said, waiting for his daughter's reaction. I understand why you did what you did. I hope that one day if I decide to do that, I can work for you and cook. I love cooking, Reen says with a look of love on her face. Of course. Would you like to cook the food for us? I told the cook earlier to wait early today after we made our orders in case you want to do the cooking, Mr. Wong said. I would love to. To show you how much better I am at cooking now, Reen said. I thought you would. Well, everyone, if you want to follow me, we can watch her cook, Mr. Huang said. You and Kansashi nodded, wanting to see how good Reen could cook. Everyone walked into the kitchen. of the restaurant, and the chefs move aside to let Reen have control. You see Reen grab a few ingredients and start mixing them into a bowl. She starts frying some meat and slowly mixing the sauce she made with the ingredients slowly into the pan. Start getting off a really good aroma, and then she goes to pour some oil into the pan. As she was pouring the oil, you could see her shaking slightly. You walk up behind her and wrap your arms around her, pulling her into a hug. You can tell she has been crying still from losing her mom. Shh, I'm right here. I'll remain here by your side, you say, trying to comfort her. She looks up at you and nods, trying to put a smile on her face. She turns back around and continues working on making the food. After what seems like an hour, she has all 4 plates made. The chefs quickly grab the plates and head out behind you all. Once seated, the chefs place the plates down in front of each person. Once the plates were set down, Reen's father clears his throat, getting everyone's attention. Mr. Scott, I give my blessing if you two ever decide to get married. You seem to be perfect for my daughter and seem to know how to handle situations when they arise. I ask that you take good care of my daughter since I won't be able to be around a lot for her. Now then, shall we eat? Mr. Long said. Everyone shook their head and had a pleasant conversation for the meal. Once the meal was done, Mr. Long took everyone to places they wanted to see and got everyone on a plane back to the IS Academy by 7 at night. The plane ride was actually peaceful on the way back to the academy. Reen was fast asleep with her head laying against you, and Kisashi was on her computer watching for any enemy signs outside of the plane. Once the plane touched down, you picked up Reen while she was sleeping. Reen moved into you, trying to get closer, but didn't wake up. You carried her back to her room and lay her down on her bed. Kisashi went to get an air mattress from Miss Umura, thinking it was best for you to stay the night in the room with her and Reen. It wasn't very long before Kisashi returned with an air mattress that had air in it. She laid it down at the foot of Reen's bed. You and Kisashi took turns getting dressed in the bathroom or the dorm room and packed it in for the night. You wake up in the morning to a surprise. Reen must have gone up in the middle of the night because she was laying next to you with her head on your chest. Kisashi comes out of the bathroom dressed but with wet hair. I was wondering when you're going to wake up and know she's laying with you, Kisashi said. It's a surprise, I will admit that, you said, quietly, to not wake Reen up. She must really love you. Please take care of her. She has been hurt too many times in her life. I read her dossier. Miss Uemura gave it to me. By the way, Miss Uemura wants to talk to you both when you both are awake and ready to start your day, since everyone has the day off. I know what it's about, but I was told to keep quiet about it, Kisashi says. Thank Kisashi for the heads up. I'm going to wake her and get ready to meet Miss Uemura, you say. You touch Reen, gently tapping on her arm to get her to wake up. Reen slowly wakes up and smiles at you when she looks up into your face. You smile back and then gently kiss her, and then kiss her gently on the lips. We need to get up. We have to meet Miss Uemura, you say. Reen gets up and slowly and grabs some clothes while you get up and head to the bathroom to take a shower and get dressed. It took about 45 minutes for both of you to get a shower in, eat, and end up in front of the door to Miss Uemura's office. Now it's time to see what Miss Uemura wanted. Reen grabs your hand as you knock on the door to Miss Uemura's office. As soon as you stop knocking, you heard Miss Uemura say, "Come in." You look at Reen and open the door and walked in slowly. The first thing you see is Miss Uemura at her desk with a copy of the school newspaper in her hands. Thank you both for showing up. There is a little problem concerning to both of you. I have a proposal for both of you to solve this situation, Mr. Uemura says. You and me both sit down knowing that this can't be good, but glad Mr. Uemura knew a solution already to solve the problem. I just want to know if we are in trouble, you ask. Yes and no. Here's the situation. The relationship between you two has reached public ears and the media is going haywire over it. I have a solution, though, to bring this stuff to an end. The question I have for you to solve this is another thing. First, Scott, how much do you love Reen? Miss Uemura says and asks. I love her with my entire heart and would do anything for her, you say. Second, Reen, how much do you love Scott? Miss Uemura asks Reen. I feel the same way that Scott feels about me, Reen says. Well, here's my offer so that this doesn't become a huge issue with the media. I propose that we have you both marry each other. I discussed it with your father, Reen, and he said that he gave Scott his blessings if he wishes to marry you. Upon the marriage, if you decide to marry each other, you will share a room. I want both of your opinions on this matter. Mr. Orimura says. You get down on a knee in front of Reen. Reen, I love you with all my heart, and I wanted to approach this another way. Under circumstances, though, I will ask you now. Will you marry me? You say and ask. Reen wraps you in a hug. Yes! Reen cries out happily with tears streaming down her face from happiness. Good. The wedding will take place in 3 days from now. The rings and wedding will be paid for by me. Pick out the rings you want tomorrow and type of wedding dress you want. Just tell them that the IS Academy is paying for it all. I want details for the wedding too. Serene, you will spend the day with me. Well, Scott spends the day with Ichika. The girls will be with us today too. So let's get going, shall we? Miss Orimura says. So I believe this is our third to last chapter. And then I'm gonna find to eat. I haven't eaten anything yet. All right, chapter 18. You head out with Ichika to the department stores. You have to get a suit, rings, and decide what to do with the rest of your time for the wedding. You're nervous because you are getting married. You're going to get married to the girl that you love. It didn't take that long to get to the city. When you get to the train station, you saw Miss Yamada standing there waiting for you. I was told to escort you around and help you today. To have a wedding take place at the academy is going to be so awesome. It will be the first wedding to happen at the academy, Miss Yamada says. With help from both Ichika and Miss Yamada, you found a really good place for getting a suit. When the manager found out it was for you and that you are a student at the IS Academy, she refused to charge the academy and decided to sponsor the wedding instead. When she had picked out a nice dark blue suit and tie, you called Miss Omura to let her know about the sponsorship for the wedding. Miss Umura said she was going to call the store and make arrangements with the shop. So far, everything was going good as you got to get to the store to get a ring for Reen. You searched for a while and asked for a ring to be made and shipped overnight to the academy. The design that you picked out for the ring was a ruby in the middle, with a rose on each side. At the bottom of the ring, you had the words "My Beloved" done in cursive. It was a masterpiece from your mind. After the design was set, the three of you headed back to the academy. Once you left to go to the stores for shopping, Reen and the girls get started on picking the dress for the wedding. Miss Ormore worked on getting preparations done on the setting for the wedding. It was going to take place in Arena 3 since it could accommodate the entire academy student body and the guests that would be attending the academy for the wedding. Reen and the girls eventually settled on a design for the dress that would fit her body, and the veil was kept short and back due to her height. While the girls had picked out the dress, Miss Ormore had preparations done for place to sponsor the wedding and reception. With ideas from Reen, Miss Orimura had the layout design for the wedding. Everything would be there and get set up 2 days from now. Reen started to become exhausted after a while and head back to the room to sleep. Once you got back to the academy, you bid Ichika and Miss Yamada a good night since it was late. You head back to your room and find Reen asleep in your bed. Quietly, not to wake her, you get a sleep outfit and take a shower. After you get done with your shower, you climb into bed next to Reen slowly so as to not wake her up. It didn't take you long to fall asleep. You wake up in the morning and head out to practice all day for your part of the wedding. Reen was to practice with you. It took almost 10 hours for you both to get everything right. Once everything was done, you both headed back to your room and slept until the next morning. Knowing once you both wake up, you had to be separated for the whole time until the wedding. Upon waking up in the morning, Ichika and Hoki came by to get you. You're going to spend the whole day practicing your fighting skills. You'd be staying the night at Ichika's room, swapping with Tatanashi. Tatanashi was glad to swap rooms with you for the night. The only thing that you knew was going on with Reed was they were getting things ready to do. Getting things ready to do things to help her get ready for tomorrow. Jesus. After a few hours of practice, you went to Ichika's room with him to study. You studied for the rest of the day and turned in early from exhaustion. All you could think about was seeing Reen in the wedding as you drifted off to sleep. Chapter 19: The Wedding and a Surprise Visitor. You wake up early in the morning. Ichika was already awake, which was a surprise because he usually sleeps in as much as possible when he gets a chance. You get up and take a shower. You have a bunch of shower supplies with you that you bought for the occasion to be really good. After the shower, you put on some cologne that you had bought and got your dress suit on. You had ironed the suit out last night to make sure there was any wrinkles in it. Once you're satisfied with the suit, you combed your hair. You heard a knock on the door of the room inside to answer it. When you opened the door, Kazashi was standing there with a tray of food. Mr. Orimura told me to bring this to you for breakfast because you and Rin can't see each other yet, Kansashi says. Thanks, Kansashi. I owe you one, you say. I am to remain here and escort you to the wedding when it is time. The wedding is supposed to start in an hour, Kansashi says. You sit down to wait and eat your breakfast. Rin woke up 3 hours before the wedding and took a shower. She put on a set of clothes to wear temporarily until she had to put on the dress. A little while later, after she got out of the shower, the other girls brought her breakfast and escorted her to the changing area for her to get her dress on. Once Rin was at the changing room, she was told to stand in the middle of the room. Once she was in the middle of the room, a group of girls slid the dress on Rin. One girl had pink her fingernails, while another did her makeup. Her hair was combed to where it was up in two buns, and an ornamental moon and stars were pinned into her buns in her hair. The wedding dress left 2 inches above her ankles so it wouldn't drag on the ground. The dress had diamonds and small rubies embedded in it along the collar section, and the veil was just long enough to be a little bit below her shoulder blade areas. The dressing took a while, but Rin knew it. But before Rin knew it, it was time to take her position at the place at the starting position. You got up and followed Kansashi when she said it was time for you to take your starting place. You were walking to the starting place when a girl came around the corner. She looked like a younger version of Miss Oimura. What are you doing here, Madoka? Ichika asked. I came here to see the wedding and turn myself into the academy. I'm sorry for what I did in the past, and I'm willing to accept my punishment, Madoka said. Follow us and please hand me the device for your IS, Ichika said while holding out his hand. Madoka handed over the device while Kansashi called Mr. Umura about the situation. After a few minutes, Madoka was allowed to go to the wedding, but it was under the three of your guys' watch. When you got to the arena, you saw the entire place was filled with students and guests to see the wedding. Even the media was there to broadcast the wedding. It was a sight to see as you walked down the aisle where family and friends were seated. You approached the platform and walk up to it to stand at your starting position. Once you were in your starting position, the music started playing and everyone looked at the entrance of the arena as Rin came out. The sight of her was breathtaking. She approached the platform and walked up to stand beside you in front of the person that would be reading the rites of marriage. Once she was next to the woman, next to you, the woman cleared her throat. Everyone had a mic piece so it could be heard throughout the arena. If you two have any words to say to each other, you may go ahead with them now, the woman said. You turned to Rin. Since the day I saw you, I just knew there was something special about you. You have made me feel wanted by someone, which was a first for me. I wish to have you by my side for eternity. I will always be here for you through everything you say. Once you're silent, Rin started to talk. You have been there for me through all the hard times I have had. Even when I was in my worst state of mind, you stayed by my side. I know I can be mean sometimes and don't mean to. You even look past my faults and so care for me. I wish to remain by your side forever, Rin says. Once you both were done, you both turned to the woman for her to read the vows. Do you, Scott, take Rin to be your wife no matter what happens in life? The woman asked. I do, you say proudly. Do you, Rin, take Scott to be your husband no matter what happens in life? The woman asks. I do, Rin says. You may now kiss the bride, the woman says. You bring Rin in and kiss her deeply. Once you kiss her, everyone in the arena starts cheering, and in your mind, as you both head to the arena too for the reception, you knew this was the day that you would never forget. During the reception, Miss Umura accepted Madoka's offer of turning herself in. As a result, she wasn't punished, but would be watched closely. You saw Miss Oimura, Ichika, and Madoka catching up on things with each other and having a blast. You couldn't help but think that today was the best day of your life. Later that night, when both of you and Rin were in your room, you held her in your arms while going to sleep. You could see the smile on her face and knew that for once, something perfect had happened in your life. So this is the epilogue. This is the last part of it. I just want to see what it's an announcement. Boring. All right, I sit here and reminisce. Epilogue, the second beginning of life. I sit here and reminisce about the past that got me, the past, the hardships that Rena and I went through. It wasn't perfect by any means. Watching the one you love lose someone close, wondering if you are good enough for them, and just wondering how long the relationship will last. It has been 6 years since it all began. I have a beautiful wife, and each of us, including Ichika and the other girls, are all instructors here at the IS Academy. Upon graduation, Miss Umar saw the potential in all of us and hired us on. I teach classes for those that use melee fighting with Ichika's help. Charlotte and Cecilia train people using range units. Lara and Hoki train people in classes to help tone their bodies. Tatanashi and Kasashi are both personal assistants to Miss Uemura, and Reen teaches a history class on the IS unit. Even though we're all instructors now, we still hang out each other when we can. It's kind of peaceful these last few years, but all of us are on the squad for protecting the academy. We still train and help each other. For the new students that come, we wish to train them to be strong in everything they do. Since graduation, we have had two more students to come here that are male. We sit back and enjoy the show, watching how they deal with the girls. This moment in life, I have no complaints. I have a job, place to live, friends, and a beautiful wife by my side. I would tell anyone that you can have a good and happy life, but you have to work hard for it. When I read this years later, I hope it reminds me of what made me the man that I have become. Babe, come to bed, Reen says in a nice gown. You leave the pen down and close your journal. You get up and slide into bed next to your wife. Once you are in the bed, comfy, Reen calls up next to you while laying her head on your chest. You reach over and turn out the lights. So yeah, so that's the end of this story. Obviously, I'm gonna read Laura Bodwig and Charlotte Dunois story with my characters. But I'm gonna do that probably after I eat. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this. I'm gonna make sure my audio is good. I mean, I know I was using another kind of mic before, and I was reading through. I believe it was the Liv Morgan parts of the story. So I hope this is fine. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. Anyway, hope you all enjoy this, and yeah, see you in a moment.